I have two guests, of course, who will be doing sports, and of course the Super Eagles with me this afternoon. Joining us in our studios in Lagos, Nigeria, is a sports journalist. Toyosi Afolayan joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Toyosi, and welcome to In the Game.
Good afternoon, Favor. Good afternoon, the viewers at home.
All right, and joining us via Zoom is the chief or sports editor of Intel Sports, Editor Obadino, joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, and welcome to In the Game.
Good afternoon, Favor. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
All right, a draw for the Super Eagles against Rwanda, 4 points from a possible 6. What is your assessment of the run of games in the September window of the qualifiers?
Basically, you have to just say these are about the best results we've gotten in a long while. We just have to be honest. So when you are coming from such low that Nigeria is coming from, then you can understand why people are excited and happy. You are doing less analysis of how the team played or how good they can get. Rather, you focus on the positive that after the Nations Cup, we dropped to one of our all-time lows, and now we are picking up 4 points out of 6. Victory is the name of the game. So a good job. You saw the fight in the players. You saw a bit of urgency and a bit of planning from the coaching crew, and so everything just sort of worked together and made it better for the team overall. So it's something you have to look forward to, that we can only get better after this. But then, of course, you are immediately reminded of the worry that who is the substantive coach? The interim coach has already done the 2 job that is expected of him. What would happen next? We've seen conflicting reports. First, Eguavoen is leaving because, of course, like you rightly said, it's just a 2-game mandate. I won't call it quit. People saying quit, I think it's a matter of semantics. He's done with the 2 games, so he doesn't need to quit. He's done. Quitting is you have extra length of days or months to still do the job, or you are leaving. But when you have an agreement and then the agreement comes to an end, that's it. But yet, we are still left with the worry of who is taking over as the substantive coach of the Super Eagles. October is just next month. The players will have to learn whatever techniques that the new coach is going to bring on board. How soon can we get that done and get it out of the way? Or if they will be retaining Eguavoen on the longer. So those are the mixed feelings that you get out of the game.
So see, editor did pointed out about the issue with Eguavoen. You know, this comment from Eguavoen saying the 2 games is done, and then later on he comes out to say I'm still there. Let's get. I don't know if my producer can help me to get the audio from Augustine Eguavoen, before he left Rwanda, and the interview after he arrived at Nigeria. Let's get to hear what he had to say concerning his managerial position with the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
I want to say I'm very pleased with the boys, and of course, thanks to NFF leadership. And all the boys supported me. They gave me 100% in terms of discipline and working hard. It ends today, which is a 2 games mandate. And I can't talk about Libya now because I've not been told. But however, I can talk about Libya a little bit in case we have another coach. We can sit down together. I want to be closer to the team as a TD. And I can give inside story, inside information that we need to be able to overcome Libya. Well, it's quite unfortunate that people just trigger something that is not correct. In the situation we're in now, we don't need negative stories. I only talked about I'm going to sit down with the hierarchy of the federation after these 2 games, and then we'll see how we'll go about the prosecuting the next games. But when I saw that story, I was kind of really worried. I'm concerned. Whatever people are reading out there is not correct. I'm still very much in charge. I'm the technical director of the Nigerian Football Federation, saddled with responsibilities of taking the Super Eagles at this moment, and that's where we are.
All right, that was Augustine Eguavoen talking about his role as the Super Eagles coach, what his role is as the technical director. Toyosi, you've listened to the 2 interviews from the head coach. Before he left Rwanda, he did talk about that he's done. And some have said, yes, he's the technical director of the Super Eagles. He was not brought in to, coach the team on a long-term basis, just like what Edito said, it's semantics. But what do you make of this? Is it a case of Eguavoen not using the right words, that ensured tabloids and other, media houses carried in the news of he resigning as the coach? But then I'm asking, was he even given a contract in the first place when you look at the situation at hand?
Well, you know the issue with NFF, yeah? Most of their stuffs are basically not done the right way. You look at what happened with Bruno Labbadia. You said you basically agreed somebody to become the coach of the Super Eagles. 4 days after, you're saying you're no longer in talks with him, basically because of tax law and everything. We've had German coaches in the past. We didn't have this issue. Then why are we having issues with Bruno Labbadia? That aside, now Eguavoen is done with the mandate that was given to him. 2 games, finished. And according to what I know, we are still in search for a foreign coach. But as it stands, Eguavoen is still leading the team because we don't have a coach, and whenever we don't have a coach, the job of the technical director is to step in. The list that was drafted for this AFCON qualifiers was being brought by a technical director. And remember, we have a technical team that oversees the football philosophy of the Nigerian Football Federation, not just for the Super Eagles alone. It also concerns the Super Falcons average grade team. So for the fact that we have a loophole, which is no coach, but somebody who also understands the game is the technical director, he has to come in place. For the coach, I think Eguavoen was misinterpreted his words. He has only managed to coach for 2 games. So for the Libya game, it's a double header in Libya and also in Uyo. We don't know who's going to coach currently. But if we don't have any coach, then Augustine Eguavoen has to step in again. That was the 4th time he stepped in to coach Nigeria. And then if it continues in October, that will be the 5th time.
Okay, let me come to you now, Editor. Is it a case of the NFF realizing that that story had gone out, which says that he is no longer the coach of the Super Eagles, and then them realizing that, I mean, we don't even need to look for a foreign coach anymore. You have to look for a way to tell them you are still the coach of the national team. Or do you think that the Eguavoen himself, as the coach, as the technical director, is still looking forward to tinker the side in the month of October and hopefully November?
The problem with providing a clarity to that, we have to come down to the fact about the quality of transparency that you get with the Nigerian Football Federation. They are trying to be, in my own understanding, and I'm talking about years of how they operate over time. They are trying to find a middle ground, a soft landing, so that the pressure does not immediately come to them in terms of who's our next coach. If Eguavoen says the 2 mandate is done, which is apt, which is correct, and of course the next questions will be who is the next coach? When are you announcing the next coach? Do they want to have the same Bruno Labbadia experience, or do they have somebody ready-made to step up? Of course, we know that answer. They do not have a ready-made replacement. Now they have to start discussions all over again with another sets of coaches that might take the job. So we don't know how it will turn out in terms of remuneration, because those are the highest points of departure between most coaches that decide to work with us. So of course, Eguavoen also jumped the gun, because yes, you have a 2-match mandate. You still have to submit your technical report, and the NFF will need to take a decision and say, based on our current search, you might be the one to oversee the Libya game, or we might get a new coach that will submit some things to you as a technical director. So it's just basically Eguavoen walking back. The right set of words from that interview should have been, yes, my 2 mandate is done, but the door is still open based on discussions that I'll have with the Nigerian Football Federation to determine what's coming next. He tried to sneak it in, but of course, because he used some certain definitive words, and some section of the media tried to go to the market with that particular important word, it has ended or something like that. So basically, it's trying to find a middle ground and making it official. Such announcements should naturally come from the Football Federation, and that's why they are walking back, and Eguavoen trying to do so much to explain why it does not necessarily mean he is done as the coach of the Super Eagles, because they could basically ask him to continue to Libya after the mandate is done, or that final decision should come after a meeting with the board of the NFF, and not immediately after again. So I think that's where the mistake come from, that they needed to correct, and that's why they are walking it back. And I also can say it's also the NFF trying to deflect a bit of tension and attention away from them in terms of who will be the next coach. You don't want to hear in the media that the Super Eagles is coachless. It's negative publicity. It's something that they do not want at their doorstep. So it's a problem they are trying to avoid by keeping Eguavoen in the loop without a definitive outcome yet.
Before I let you go, Eguavoen, do you think it should continue, or should we have a permanent coach, or should Eguavoen be made the coach for the meantime while we have a new technical director? What do you think should be the way forward after this round of qualifiers? Any talk?
That's a tough call because you have to look at the NFF and the ability to pay, and there are plans to go back to the football to the federal government or the sports minister to determine if they'll be able to afford or get some substantive support in their ability to pay. I've looked at their budgets through this year. Partly some. So I know that the payment for the coaches is not there. Then, of course, there are development funding that comes from the Football Federation, from the International Football Federation, talking about FIFA. Will it be enough to take care of the coach? Because you still have to take care of the national team, the different levels of national team that they are working with. So a lot will go into that decision. But the truth is this: NFF cannot afford the kind of coach that the Super Eagles deserve or should have at this point in time, because the amount they are able to pay based on their past history cannot work in modern day coaching for a quality coach that they should accept, unless they just find someone who loves Nigeria so much and decide to just fake that low pay cut, basically, to be able to pay for them. But outside of that, they should stick with Eguavoen. Right the way for these qualifiers. Everything seems stable, not in crisis, and then have a stable plan, a stable financial plan, and for them to engage whoever they think is right for the Super Eagles job. But for now, it will be hard to get a coach that they can afford, and the time is too short to get to Libya.
All right. I must say a big thank you to you, Anita Obadino, for your time. We hope to do this again, and we hope for the very best for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.